President Biden has outlined his $37 billion Safer America plan to tackle gun violence in America. In his Tuesday speech from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, the president also used his speech to call out Republicans for refusing to restore the ban on assault weapons and those not condemning the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
So let me say this to my MAGA Republican friends in Congress. Don't tell me you support law enforcement if you won't condemn what happened on the 6th. For God's sake, whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? You're either on the side of a mob or the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection.
It's interesting. He didn't sound like he was very friendly with those MAGA Republicans, but Joe Khalil is joining us now with more on the president's speech. Joe, you can go ahead and tell us what he really said. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, boy, it almost sounds like the White House has a campaign message, doesn't it, Mitch, for the midterms coming up. This is the second time in just a couple of days that President Biden has really slammed MAGA Republicans. And, you know, he is using that phrase very deliberately and sort of unapologetically. Just a couple of days ago, talking about MAGA Republicans' philosophy being close to what he called semi-fascism, and he got a lot of pushback from Republicans about that. But again, he has not walked it back at all. In fact, the White House doubled down on that, and he has been unapologetic. And again, just last night, talking about MAGA Republicans not supporting law enforcement, especially around January 6th. What's clearly happening here, Mitch, is that President Biden is trying to sort of flip the narrative, flip the script on Republicans being the party of law enforcement and Democrats being the, you know, quote unquote, anti-police party. I mean, they're trying really to turn a weakness into a strength here. He slammed defunding the police, that idea, and the president and, frankly, Democrats right now on the campaign trail are getting a little bit of help in flipping that narrative by some Republicans who are now saying, you know, defund the FBI in response to the Mar-a-Lago raid. You know, President Biden trying to very clearly make that distinction and make that case. It all fit into this plan, as you mentioned, this $37 billion plan that he's laying out, his Safe America plan, where it reinvests money to hire more police officers nationwide. It invests about $15 billion for communities to try to do, you know, anti-crime prevention. But the bigger takeaway from this is that this sort of campaign narrative, this was a campaign stop and a campaign stump speech, no doubt about it. The first of three that are happening this week in Pennsylvania, where, you know, the president is pointing specifically in one point to Lindsey Graham, saying that there may be violence in the streets if something happens to President Trump as a result of this FBI investigation, trying really to push back against that defund label that Democrats have been hit with, and Republicans have been effective really in the last 2 years as labeling Democrats as the party of defund the police, you know, despite the fact that there are maybe 7 elected Democrats who embody that. The vast majority have been trying to run away from that label. So I think more so than Democrats running for Congress, the president and the White House have really had a determined strategy to get away from that and to flip that narrative. That is what they're trying to do, and I imagine we're going to continue to hear more like that coming up. President Biden on Thursday delivering another speech, this one in Philadelphia, where he is labeling it the defending the soul of the nation speech. So I imagine that as we get closer and closer to November, Mitch, you're going to hear a lot more of President Biden talking about MAGA Republicans and making that sort of distinction, trying to really erase that defund label from the White House and from his own party.
Yeah, $37 billion he's proposing to law enforcement, $13 billion to hire 100,000 additional police officers across the country. That is funding the police right there. Joe Khalil, thank you very much for that. Now let's bring in political strategist Reyahd Kazmi for more on the president's speech. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. How are you?
So the president really called out some GOP lawmakers on a series of issues during his speech. My question to you is, given the information we've just learned about the DOJ and all of the things that are coming out in that campaign, or rather, sorry, not that campaign, that investigation into President Trump's dealings, is this the time to be pivoting to supporting law enforcement, or is this a time when President Biden maybe should just sit back and sort of let the news cycle do its thing?
I think that's a very good question. Also, thank you for having me on. You know, I think it comes to the fact that it's seen Republicans typically have been the individuals to focus on police when, in fact, if we really look at this, over the past 18 months, President Biden has done a lot I mean, a lot with making sure we're not only supporting police, but we're tackling gun violence and crime prevention. I mean, he's the first president in over 30 years, literally 30 years, to bring together members of both parties and to be able to come to conclusion and an actual legislation with the Bipartisan Safety Communities Act to be able to ensure that we're tackling gun violence, providing funding for our police, and ensuring there's other ways for us to keep our streets safe.
And apparently, we looked at a poll recently. It was from the AP, and they were saying that something like 11% of folks that were surveyed believe that gun violence specifically is a major issue heading into the campaign, but they all ranked it basically 5th out of 5 if it made their list at all. So is this a smart issue to hone in on for the president right now as he looks toward the midterms and potential reelection 2 years from now? Or is this just something that's important to Democrats that might not matter to independents or other folks?
I think it matters to everyone. This isn't a Republican issue, a Democrat issue. I mean, our streets throughout the country experience violence and crime, right? That is something that every single one of us, regardless of political party, political affiliation, regardless of how we vote, we all are impacted by that. And I think that this is smart because it's not only taking an issue, quote unquote, away from one party or showing that both parties want to support people and keep people safe. It's showing that it doesn't matter. I'm sure economy was up there, right? People care about money in their pockets. But at the end of the day, if violence isn't something that's curbed, and this is what's good about the Safer American Plan, and you heard the $37 billion investing in police, but also increasing police accountability and helping with crime prevention, right? And making sure that dangerous firearms are out of the hands of dangerous people. I think that's an issue that every single person cares about. And I think it's about time that Democrats start taking this position head on and showing that we've got to ensure that there's ways you can also fund the police. But at the same time as funding police, you can also ensure there's proper community-led crime prevention and intervention strategies and tactics that are available there. Summer jobs programs, making sure that our returning citizens, when they reenter society, have access to jobs and job training. You heard investing in the police. There's going to be 100,000 additional police officers on the street in communities throughout the country over the course of 5 years. That's a $13 billion investment.
And that is a political strategist, Reyahd Kazmi. Thank you very much for coming on to talk about President Biden's speech last night. And we appreciate your time on early morning.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.